President Kamala Harris was back in Wisconsin today for another rally, this time in Ripon. Former Congresswoman Liz Cheney joined Harris at Ripon College. Cheney was the top Republican on the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol and one of former President Donald Trump's fiercest critics. Harris talked about the state of our democracy and called former President Trump a constitutional threat. Meanwhile, the former president visited another battleground state today. He fired up supporters at a campaign rally in Saginaw, Michigan. Trump is set to visit Wisconsin on Sunday for a rally in Juneau.